Hey folks, Ron here. Today we're doing a walking tour of Roxbury Street in Beverly Hills, where several celebrities lived and some were even close neighbors. Um, it's a little bit different now, but it's quite the mix now between business people, people in the industry, and an athlete here and there. But anyway, we're going to start the walking tour and go from there. So you can see a lot of traffic still, which kind of surprises me that there's so much traffic, people walking and cars. But one of the things about these north-south streets in Beverly Hills is they're a conduit kind of between the west side and the San Fernando Valley. So we get a lot of traffic that way. Sometimes excuse the shake there. So we're here at former home of Lucy and Desi, and this was, again, a lot of these homes are quite different than they were because a lot have been remodeled, a lot have been redone since then, since the original owners lived there, or these people lived there. What's interesting was that the former owner was very upset that he thought Jack Benny lived here. Well, the tourists thought Jack Benny lived here. As a matter of fact, they put a sign out front that's saying Jack Benny does not live here because he lived nearby. But when Lucy and Desi took up residence, tourists started arriving in droves. So for a while, they liked it. It was okay. They handed out candy and Halloween, things like that. Desi Jr. would bilk tourists out of cash during Halloween and alike. But then, when the marriage started to fall apart, Lucy kicked out Desi in 1960, and her new husband, Gary Morton, moved in. Now, at that point, it was quite a different situation. In 1989, Lucy died, and she died here, and as what usually happens, they built this new facade to kind of disguise the fact, I don't know why they thought they would disguise it, but disguise the fact that it had been Lucy's house. See a lot of people just pull over here in the street, and a lot of people walking, a lot of people driving, so it's expansive homes, but it's not the most quiet area for you. And as you know, if you watch my channel, I do night tours as well. A lot more quiet, but you don't get to see what you see here. Now, coming up on the house next door, which happens to be the former home of Jack Benny. I know we're a little bit in shadow there. I apologize for that, but you can see what you can see here, even with the shadows and the lighting. A beautiful brick home. And it was the most famous street on the block, actually, in the 1950s. Tour buses were pulling up, I would say probably every day. And he knew it, and he, I think, enjoyed it. He'd ride on the bus himself sometime to get home, saying, well, I'm home now. That was Jack Benny for you. Loved the fact that Lucy lived next door. And obviously they were friends and neighbors. And a lot of parties, a lot of celebrity parties were held here. And it was a very, very famous place, a very famous meeting spot in Beverly Hills. Kind of like the Natalie Wood and R.J. Wagner house over on Cannon. A lot of parties being held, a real celebrity hangout in those days. Now, he moved out, Jack Benny, in 65. His health was failing. He was only 39 years old. And so he has not lived here for, 55 years or so. But it's quite the beautiful house, and I have no indication that there was major structural changes to it. See my shadow there. Let's continue on. All right,